So, hello again and welcome to your practice. For today's practice, I recommend having something to prop you up a little bit or to extend your reach in some of the poses. So a block is a very useful way to do that. But if you had something like a big Mexican cookbook or really any thick book, you could use that or whatever you have around you. And also, maybe we're going to get into, I think, we're definitely going to get into some leg work today in this practice, focusing mostly on the lower back, the hips, some opening, and some strengthening also for the lower body to help support, you. If you don't have a strap, a blanket or a towel can be rolled up, or even a very sturdy scarf or a belt, a nice way to extend your reach. So, please get what you need, and then find a comfortable resting position. I invite you to try resting on your back at first, with your feet on the floor and your knees up. You can bring your arms by your side or even rest them on your body. And then just let out a deep exhale with a sigh. Making sound with the breath to help encourage the body to relax. If it's possible, if it feels easy, always breathing in through the nose. And then one more time, let's breathe out through the mouth with a sigh. It's a great way to release tension. But whenever possible, breathing in through the nose helps filter the breath, the body's natural filter. And as you exhale, encourage your whole body to relax a little bit heavier into the floor. If everything feels good in your back, especially the lower back, feel free to extend your legs one at a time. Even closing your eyes if you like, and directing your attention inward, letting go of the outside world of distractions, and even some of those internal distractions. If you notice your thoughts racing about, notice that that is not helpful for your relaxation. And rather than judging yourself or scolding yourself, simply notice if you can release any more tension into the earth with every breath. Scan over your body briefly to notice if there are any particular places, any body parts where you are holding onto a lot of tension, or maybe where you feel a little bit of stiffness or soreness. And rather than trying to change any of that, simply allow your attention to rest there and see what happens as you continue relaxing and focusing on your natural breathing. Where we direct our attention, the energy of the body, the life force follows. This is often connected with, and one of the ways we notice it the most, with our breathing. As you continue letting go of whatever you don't need, Also notice the natural rise and fall of your breath. Notice how with each inhale, you are being breathed. You are being enlivened, enlightened, energized. And with each exhale, you have an opportunity to release, let go of whatever it is that's not serving you anymore. We're going to do a 3-part breathing exercise here. We're going to divide the area of your breathing room in the entire torso into 3 parts: the bottom, middle, and top of your breathing room. And then we'll breathe out that same way in 3 even parts. So the next time you exhale, you can even squeeze your navel into the body to get rid of that last bit of air. And then as you inhale, fill up your bottom third from the pelvic floor until your navel and pause. Continue breathing in from the navel up to the breast line and pause. And then finish the breath in the top third of your lungs and breathing room all the way up to the collarbones, a gentle pause. And then we're going to release the breath out from the top and pause, from the middle and pause, and then all the way through the bottom third of your breathing room, fully release. So go ahead and continue like this in your own rhythm, breathing in that first third, pause. Continue breathing in that second third, pause. And then finish your breath full, pausing that last third, and then releasing the same way out in 3 smooth, balanced, and unrushed parts of the breath. So this may take a little bit of playing around with it to get the right rhythm and speed of your flow of breath, so that you feel like each third is just as long, just as easy, just as smooth as the other thirds, and that the pauses are just that. They're a chance to observe without doing anything. If at any time you feel like your breathing has become difficult, you're forcing it, recognize that that is also counterproductive. So you might just want to return to your natural breathing. Take it easy. Continue like this for one more round, dividing the space of your breathing room into thirds. And seeing if you can rest a little bit easier in the space between the breath. Really taking your time to explore and notice what you feel. And the next time you breathe out in 3 gentle parts, complete your exhale, perhaps even squeezing the navel into the body, getting all of the air out, and then returning to your natural breath. Just take a moment here, again, to be in the body. Notice and feel. And also see if you can notice any changes. Perhaps you might have accumulated some tension, you might be holding on to something again without realizing it. And then also notice your natural breathing and see how that has responded. Wonderful. It's one of my favorite breathing exercises for really slowing down the mind, helping encourage the parasympathetic nervous system to take over. That's our rest and digest part of us. And it also really opens that breathing space, especially in the upper part of the torso and chest. Sometimes we're not really aware of all of that room we have for the breath. And this really invites you to fully breathe. As you're ready, start to wake up in the body with gentle movements, anything small that feels nice, the hands and feet. And then when you're ready, bend your knees and hug your legs into your chest, gently rolling on your back from side to side, being sure to keep your lower back nice and long so that the tailbone is reaching away from your head and down towards the ground. Nice. You need to move the mat just a little bit there. Some creak. Okay. And then bring your feet back to the floor so your knees are right above your feet and above the back of the foot. We're going to do one leg at a time. On an exhale, you're going to hug your first leg into the body and really notice the length of your back, the lower back especially. And then on an inhale, release, and exhale the second side. So feel free to squeeze here as much as you like, as much as feels good. You can engage in your core a bit as you pull your navel in, lengthen the lower back. Inhale, release. We're going to do that 2 more times. Exhale. Nice squeeze. And release. This is helping us warm up a bit through the hips and also just notice what's going on there. And the hips and the legs are really the keys to supporting our back, especially the lower back. This is also a good way to release tension there. Anytime we have the knees bent, we encourage the low back to soften, let go of any hardness. I'm going to do that now one more time on the first leg and holding for a bit. And now on an inhale, as you pull the belly in, go ahead and lift your forehead and your shoulders towards your knee, any amount. Make sure you keep that low back long, the tailbone reaching away from your head and down to the ground. One more inhale here, and then exhale, release. Release the leg. Inhale, easy, and exhale, we'll squeeze again with a hold. We're going to also stabilize the core, so bringing the navel again down towards the floor. And inhale, bring your upper body up towards the knee. Good. Continue breathing here. And maybe come up just a little bit more on your next inhale. And then as you exhale, release. Nice. Now we're going to take a gentle twist for the legs. And this is really nice for the low back. Bring your legs together and bring your first leg on top of the other. So the knees right on top of each other, more or less, and the legs are crossed. And depending on your seat, you may want to scoot your seat over to the side a little bit. We're going to twist So if your right knee is on top, you're going to twist over to the left first. This should not be your deepest twist. So it's still warming up. You definitely don't want to feel any pain. So if you are having a hard time with this, you might want to use a prop already. You could grab a block, or you have a big cushion, a bolster. You could put that below your upper legs. You have a little bit of support there. Also notice your shoulder. So if you're twisting to the left, especially your right shoulder has a tendency to lift off the ground. Try to stay for now in a range of motion where you can keep the upper back grounded. Your head and your neck relaxed. You might look up right here in the middle. You can also turn the head in any direction really, but it's often nice to give a little bit more twist through the spine by rotating your head away from your legs. Let me take one more breath here. And then engaging your core, belly into the body as you inhale, come up. And exhale, uncross your legs. And just pause and feel. When you're ready, setting up for the second side, cross that second leg on top. For me, it's the left knee now, so I'm gonna scoot also my seat over to the left. And that's just gonna give me a little bit more room around the flesh of the seat and the hips to twist my legs over to the right, perhaps using some support under the upper legs. And definitely, as much as you can, letting the upper back rest heavy on the ground. Also have that support of the floor. And you want your head to look in any direction that feels good for your neck. You could even do a little bit of rotation mindfully and always listening to your body and perhaps rotating the head away from the legs. And then again, see if you can notice your breathing room here, especially in the twisted side of your body. Seeing if with your inhale, there's any space there that you can open up. And with your exhale, again, giving yourself permission to let go of whatever you don't need. Take one more breath. Using your exhale to soften. And on your inhale, engaging through your center, legs back up to the center. And if you like, at any time, feel free to squeeze the legs, even rolling for a little massage on the back again. Nice. And now if you've got a belt or a strap, go ahead and grab that. We're going to do a little bit of opening through the back of the legs and then the outside of the hips before we move into some stabilizing work. So I'm going to take that first leg up. Keep your other foot on the floor with your knee bent right above your heel. And using your strap, sometimes it's nice to make a loop around the hands. So we don't have to grab very hard. Definitely don't want to be forcing or overexerting. And this is not about how far you can bring your leg towards your head, towards your nose. This is really about lengthening through the backside of the leg, so the hamstrings and even the calf. So with your lifted leg, bring the strap or bring your hands just behind the leg, wherever you can reach. You want the upper leg to be vertical. You want it to be nice and long, and you can always bend your knee. And with the strap, you're going to put it on the balls of your feet. So just behind the toes. There we go. And you want to be able to rest your upper body here. So I'm not working very hard through the arms. I'm not gripping with a death grip through my hands, but I'm holding the leg firm. If you're not using a strap, you're going to get that same stretch here. I just need to feel around for it a little bit more, actively pushing your leg into your hands and gently pulling your hands on the back of the leg. Remember your breathing here and really reach up through the bottom of your foot. See if you can spread your toes a little bit. If your calves are very tight, you're going to feel this a lot in the calf. And most of us are pretty tight in the hamstring, so you're also going to feel it there, all throughout the back of the leg. Let's see if we can let the top of the leg bone, so where the leg meets the hip, rest a little bit heavier down to the ground as you reach the bottom of the foot up just a bit more. And then exhale, go ahead and release that. And we'll go ahead and move directly into the second side. So if you're using a strap, you can just place your first foot on the floor and put the strap behind the balls of your second foot, second side. And again, try to bring that second leg, at least the upper leg is vertical, but you can always bend your knee, especially if you're feeling any strain in your back. Go ahead and reach through the bottom of the foot, really lengthen through the whole leg like it was a fire hose full of liquid energy. Spread your toes a little bit more and see if you can return to a full, easy, natural breath. Again, the calf might be pretty tight here. We really want to feel this through the back side of the whole leg, especially the hamstring. So let the top of the leg bone be heavy towards the floor as you reach the bottom of the foot up just a little bit more. Perhaps coming a little bit deeper if you notice your edge has moved. So if you're not feeling a big stretch yet, you can always use the strap or bring the leg a little bit closer to your head. One more breath here. And then release. Wonderful. Okay, now we're going to do some nice stretching for the outer hip rotators. So you're going to take that first leg again, and you're going to bend the knee and bring the foot, so I'll show you from both sides. I'm going to bring the foot and the ankle just above or below, depending on how you look at it, just right behind the back of the knee, sorry, the top of the knee, but on the thigh muscle. So on the other side, the foot is flexed. You have this 90-degree bend through the ankle. You're spreading your toes again, and you use that active foot to sort of latch onto, to hold the outside of the upper leg. And then your knee, you're going to gently move away from your head, away from your shoulders, as you reach between your legs with your hands. And you can start to bring that supporting leg into the body, only as far as it feels good. You might grab the backside of the thigh, or maybe already reaching around for the shin, just below the knee. Now, either way, this lifted leg is flex in the foot. So keeping the ankle engaged here is going to help align your foot with your knee. We don't want any torsion through the knee, but where the action of your lifted leg and of the knee is away from your body, even as you use your arms to help the supporting leg into the body. So you have this opposing action here. And how much? Well, as much as you can, breathe freely and deeply. You should be feeling this in the outside of the hip, piriformis area, and our outer hip rotators of the lifted leg. Take one more breath here. Really make sure your spine is still long here, especially the lower back. And exhale, maybe give it a little bit more squeeze, and then release. And then moving to the second side. So supporting foot on the floor, flex your foot, hook it on the outside of the thigh, and you can grab here again through your legs, right underneath the pit of the knee. the back of the thigh, or maybe reach around to the outside of your shin. And especially notice if one side is very different for you. That is often the case, and that's really no problem at all. Especially if you can notice that, then you are in a better position to help your body return to its natural state of harmony and balance. The body is always looking to restore itself. And by taking the time to do this work, we do one side and then the other. It's a really nice way to get that feedback, to get that perspective on how you might be holding your body differently in your different activities throughout the day. Okay, let's really breathe into the lower back, reaching your tail away from your head and down to the ground. As you move that lifted knee away from your shoulders, exhale, just holding yourself and feeling, and then releasing. Okay, good stuff. We're going to take a couple pelvic tilts now, bringing a little bit of motion into the lowest part of the back. I'm going to do this by inhaling and arching the lower back. Your tailbone is reaching down as your belly lifts up a bit. And then as you exhale, the belly pulls into the body, down to the ground. The action of your tailbone is now lifting between your knees. So on an inhale, we're tilting the pelvis forward, get a nice arch. And as you exhale, we're tilting the pelvis back. You get a really round back. This is very much like cat and cow pose, which we'll be coming to a couple of times today. But we're doing it first here on the floor to feel that support of the floor. Try to keep your knees stable here. So the knees are not moving, your legs are grounded. And that awareness of knees is going to be really helpful in our next stabilizing action. So when you're ready, I'm going to bring your lower legs like a tabletop position, knees directly above your hips. Your arms can be by your sides. Try to keep the upper back, the shoulders and the shoulder blades resting heavy towards the floor. For a little bit more, you could bring your hands over your heart like you're holding a little ball of energy here. And go ahead and spread your toes and notice your knees. Knees are parallel. And we're going to keep them very stable. We're also going to keep the lower back long in this position. So not overarching the back here. We really want the lower back to be stable, reaching down to the ground. As you exhale, we're going to lower the toes towards the floor, or maybe all the way to the floor. And then inhale, coming back up without moving the knee. So of course the knee is opening here and flexing as we lower the toes of the second side. And as you inhale, we come back up. But the whole time, I'm trying to keep my knees very stable as I pull my core inwards and down to the floor. Now this can cramp you up a little bit. And if you start to feel anything sharp, anything fiery or painful, that's really important that you pause, take it easy, come out. Maybe also massage that part of the body if you're feeling any cramping. And most important of all, just listen to your body and remember your breath. We're moving very slowly through this, trying to use as little momentum as possible, really getting some of these less obvious and smaller muscles to engage in this really nice support work. Good. Pulling your navel into the body as you reach the tailbone away and down. Let's do one more time on each side. And then just to see what it's like, we'll do both toes, toe taps together. From parallel, tabletop. Exhaling, lowering both toes together. Try to keep the toes spread here. Come down as far as feels good. Nice. And then inhale back up. And exhale, hug the legs into the body. Maybe breathe out with a sigh. And again, maybe a little bit of massaging if that feels good on your back. Or if you like, we can also massage along the length of the spine. Just be careful not to push your neck into the ground. And just rocking up and down a bit. If that does not feel good in your back, don't do it. You can also just come up by rolling to your side and then coming to hands and knees, where we're going to be next. So if you cross your legs, you come over the ankles and onto hands and knees. Great. So in hands and knees pose, your back is long. There's also those natural curves. So the curve right behind the back of the neck, and that curve right at the lowest part of your back, just above your tailbone. Now we're going to do cat and cow pose again. I like to tuck the toes here, and if you have sensitive knees, you might want to fold your mat. This will just give you a little bit of extra cushion for your knees. On an inhale, arching your back. And as you exhale, rounding. Pull that belly in. As you inhale, let your belly be soft as your tail moves back and up. And then as you exhale, pull that belly in as your tail moves down. You look between your legs or maybe all the way up to your navel. As you inhale, this is the cow pose. Think that udder, nice and heavy, hanging and easy, like on a cow. And as you exhale, this is that angry cat, or those cats that arch their back when they're surprised. Inhale. Make sure your shoulders stay connected to the back, so they're very far from the ears as you look up. And as you exhale, even broadening your shoulders, get round. We'll do 2 more like this in your rhythm, meaning that you, again, turn your attention inwards, really notice what you notice. Give yourself that time and that space to feel. And at the end of your next exhale, returning again to a neutral spine, and taking a moment again to notice the length and those curves. Great. We're going to do one more stabilizing action here before we get moving a little bit more. So we're going to take that first leg back by just walking it back a bit. And then inhale, using the inner thigh, lifting that leg up so that the hips are parallel to the earth. Your back foot is active, reaching like you were standing on something. And if this feels wobbly, you could stay here or extend that opposite arm forward. So you're looking maybe just in front of your mat, looking at some point that's not moving will help your balance. But also you want to look at an angle that allows you to extend all sides of your neck, back and the front. Now reach out from your center, even as you pull the belly in. So the lower abdomen here, very strong, stabilizing and supporting the back. And then on an exhale, we're going to bend the knee and the elbow, tucking your nose towards your knee. Maybe you can get the elbow to meet it. You come out again, lengthen, and exhale. Tuck it in, get really round, small and round as you can. One more time for good luck. And then exhale, round. Nice. Neutralize the spine, flexing the foot, lengthening it out, and then exhale back to hands and knees. Really nice to pause in between one side and then the next. When you're ready, second side, we'll just walk that foot back and then really use the inner thigh, so the inside of the upper leg, to lift that leg up first. This will prevent you from overusing the glutes and overstraining the back. And then activate that back foot, so like you were standing on something. And notice your breath, notice your balance. And if it feels good, you bring the opposite arm up, but try to remember your shoulders connecting back into that upper back support. 3 easy, unrushed breaths here. And if you like, you can just stay here or take it in and rounding into a nice tight ball. Again, when you're inhales, you're pulling that belly in as you extend the whole spine, and exhaling, squeezing that a little bit more. And after your last one, we'll extend the spine, neutralizing, and then exhale back to hands and knees. Good stuff. Now, if you're still wearing socks, it's cold where you are, and this might be a good time to take them off as we're going to get moving more and more, and you may want a better grip on your mat. Tuck your toes as you spread your hands. Engage your core, and on an inhale, we're going to use that strength of the core to lift the hips up and back for an easy downward face dog. Now bend your knees in this downward dog. Our focus is really on the back, so I'm not too concerned about how long or straight the legs are. What I want to feel is the most extension and a nice stretch in the back. The shoulders also work here, so it helps to keep the elbows a little bit playful, a little bit soft. As you let your head and neck be heavy, hanging there in between your upper arms. And then go ahead and bend your knees more as you look between your hands. We're just going to walk or hop. We're just stepping forward into a nice generous forward bend. So by generous here, I want you to bend your knees enough that you can get your hands on the floor, no problem. Notice your knees here, right in the middle of your foot. By middle, I mean the center line, and at the back of the foot, in the center of the ankle. Now let's turn on the legs a little bit more. Activate your upper legs to lift your sitting bones up. And then exhale. See if you can let your whole upper body hang a little bit easier, a little bit more relaxed through the whole back. If you like, you can go ahead and bring your hands behind your back. Careful not to shrug your shoulders here. So you're not trying to choke the neck with the shoulders. Just the opposite. We want some nice length on all sides of the neck. And with your hands interlaced behind your back, bending your elbows a bit. And starting to bring the back of your hands towards the back of your head. Legs are active here, but the knees stay easy. So a gentle bend. And right there, following the center line of your foot, stay parallel. Go ahead and release your hands back down to the ground, and then nice and easy, we're going to come up. You can just start to roll your way up here. Take your time. If you roll up, let your head and the neck be the last things to come all the way up. Great. Standing here at the front of your mat, just going to go through a couple of sun salutations and get into our leg work for today, our lunge sequence. So we're going to inhale and reach up. Exhale, folding from your hips into a forward bend. On an inhale, the right leg goes back first. And then exhale the left. Again, notice that length. Notice the integrity of your spine and also your shoulders here in the upper back. For this first chaturanga, try bringing your knees down. Notice those shoulders. Keep them right where they are, connected. And release your way down. Point your toes away from you. And on an inhale, pushing the legs down, we lift the upper body up. Exhale, take it back down. Inhale, coming up again for a gentle cobra. And exhale, release. One more time. Notice the hands here right underneath the elbows 90-degree bend as you inhale, bringing the upper body forward and up. We'll hold this for 3 breaths. Feel free to rock side to side if that feels good in your back. Sometimes that helps loosen up. On your next inhale, see if you can bring the crown of the head a little bit more forward and up as you keep those shoulders resting in the back. On an exhale, chin to the chest and coming back through hands and knees, or just directly to downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg up. Exhale, bend the knee into the chest and step the foot all the way between your hands, or use your hands to help it there so that your knee, again, is right above the ankle, following the toes. You come onto the fingertips here for a little more room in the back. Exhale, step forward, forward bend. On an inhale, we come up again. You could do that roll for a breath, or with a long back, lift up, using the strength of your legs, and exhale, settle down. Inhale, reach up, looking up. Exhale, bending from your hips, and always bend your knees as much as you need to. Inhale the left leg back, coming onto fingertips again. Just gives you a little bit more room to lengthen the back. Exhale, the second leg back for plank. Now feet are active here, the upper thighs lifting up as you pull the belly in. Have that really stable, strong core. And again, we could come down onto the knees, but really focus on the shoulders. And if you want a chaturanga, maybe slide your whole body a couple centimeters forward as you exhale, bending your elbows by your sides. Lower down nice and slow. Release. Point the toes. Elbows right above the wrist. Inhale, cobra, coming up. And then exhale, coming back down. Let's do that 2 more times. Activate the feet down into the ground. And exhale, release. Last one, inhale. And we're going to hold it for 3 breaths. You might want to take away the hands. Make sure you're using your core, using the strength of the back body to open up a little bit through the front. We're opening the chest here and keeping those shoulders relaxed in the body. Also make sure you're not scrunching the back of your neck. Exhale, hands back down to the ground, chin to the chest, and downward facing dog. On an inhale, lifting that left leg up, reaching through the bottom of both of your feet. Exhale, knee to the chest, step it forward. Forward lunge, knee following the toes. As you inhale, the strength of your legs will help you lengthen the back. As you exhale, stepping forward. Inhale, coming on up. And exhale again, settling down. Taking a moment again to notice how you're feeling. And noticing any changes, also changes in your breathing. Probably noticing your heartbeat and a little bit more warmth now. When your heart and your breathing have settled down back to your natural rhythm, we're going to move on into our leg sequence. We'll inhale and reach up, and exhale, fold forward. I'm going to take that first leg back and start with the right if you like. I'm just pausing here on your fingertips. And this is where it's nice to have a block as well, if you can. For a lot of us, it's going to help our next lunge be more accessible. So that in this lunge action here, my front leg and the hip, or where the leg meets the hip, is pulling back. So that leg bone moving back as I gently pull that back leg forward. Go ahead and lower the back knee to the ground, using cushion if you need to by folding the mat. We're going to take a lizard lunge here. For this lizard lunge, I recommend you bring a block or any kind of prop that you can stably put your arms on, right there at the line of the toes of your front foot. You may want to walk or kind of wiggle that front foot out a little bit more to the side. You may need to change your stance a bit so you feel good in that back knee. And then slowly lower your upper body down towards the floor. Now the block has a couple different heights. You might use the highest one and get your forearms there. And wherever you're going, make sure that your front knee is still following that center line of the foot. The knee staying close to the body, and your attention staying on the breath. If everything feels good in your back, you can tuck the toes and lengthen and lift that back leg. And then exhale, release. Opening yourself up. And then tucking the toes of the back foot, if you haven't already, as we get ready for our high lunges now. We're going to need a lot of stability here. So feel your lower abdomen right below the navel, pulling in, your tail reaching down. As you inhale, activate both of your legs and come on up. And you can keep your hands on your hips for balance or out wide for a little bit more support. Or bring your arms parallel to the floor. For me, this really helps me feel my shoulders connecting to that upper back support. So I'm emphasizing the big toe in the front foot, making sure that knee follows the center line. And if you like to, you can inhale and start to lift your arms. Just make sure you're not choking the neck. Sometimes though, it can be good to lift the shoulders and pull them back down for contrast. If you need to, plug the arms back into the body, shoulders relax. And take one more breath here. A really great stretch. Make sure that back thigh, the inside of the thigh, is lifting up. As you pull your tail down, focus on your breathing. Exhale, hands by that front foot. And come back into plank or plank on your knees. Inhale, maybe coming forward a bit, and exhale, chaturanga. Release. Inhale, gentle cobra. Exhale, downward dog. Take a few unrushed breaths here, especially if you notice a big difference. When you're ready, we'll do the second side. You can inhale to lift the leg and then bring the knee into the body and step it forward. Find your stance first. So come onto the fingertips here by pausing for a moment here. This is the added benefit of letting gravity do some of that work. So in this orientation, we're letting the weight of the body, the curve of space, do some of that opening for us. Back foot still active. That front hip pulling back as I stretch the front side of the back leg. And then lowering that back knee down and possibly walking the foot open a bit for the lizard lunge. On the second side, using a block here, it's going to be about where your toes stop, where you place the block. But you could also just stay up on your arms, keeping your arms extended. Some of you with a lot of flexibility there in the hips are going to be able to come down onto your forearms on the ground. How far you go really depends on how you're feeling. Again, listen to that body. And remember your breathing. Sometimes using a little bit of support will actually help you get a better release in this pose. So focus on that front knee. Make sure it's hugging in toward your ribs, right above the ankle. Still following that center line. And if you like, you can lift that back leg and breathe deep. Slowly, mindfully coming out, setting the knee down, coming back, parallel legs, right in line with your hips, and tucking the back toes as you bring your hands to your lowest abdomen muscles, turning those on by squeezing them in, tail is long, inhale, come on up, and exhale, settle in. So we want our hips to be in line here with that front line of the mat, both of them facing forward, and that back leg really strong. So the thigh here, if you grab it, you'll feel, ooh, it's like steel, like iron. Reach it back and up, even as you pull your pubic bone up into your core. You can add the arms if you like. But keep those shoulders relaxed. Two more, smooth, unrushed breaths. On an exhale, we bring the arms by the front foot, plant the hands, and come back to plank. Lengthen the whole body. Feel that line of energy. And exhale, coming down, chaturanga. Release. Point the toes, cobra. Roll over your toes, exhale, downward facing dog. Lovely. Okay, I'm going to bend the knees a little bit more. And you could just walk forward, forward bend, or activate that core and lift and come sitting through your arms to come back down to the ground. So just one way to practice that jump through and roll on down. So we're going to take another twist here. We'll start with the knees above the hips and the arms out wide like a letter T, or you can bend the elbows, cactus arms. And for now, we're only going to go as far as you can go and maintain that connection through the upper back and the floor. So feel both of your shoulder blades on the ground and the back of the head. And on an exhale, you start to bring your knees together over to one side, and then inhale back up. Exhale to the second side. Make sure that opposite shoulder stays on the floor. Just going to do about 3 of these dynamically, moving with your breath. And for now, only go as far as you can. Maintain that connection, maintain that support. The knees stay together. There's going to be a tendency for the knees to slide apart. Really do your best to keep them together and on the same plane. And then the next time you come back to your first side, let the whole body roll over. So you're lying on your side, and go ahead and get your head comfortable. So the back of the head is on the floor. And you can lose your lower arm here in between your knees, if that feels better, through the lower back. Or you can use a block. It's got to be there somewhere. But again, we want to keep the knees, the action of them hugging inward together, and the knees on the same plane. So one knee is not more in front of the other. And then bring your upper arm above your body and bend the elbow. With the back of the head on the ground, I'm just going to let gravity do this final twist for us. So letting the weight of the arm reach away with your elbow away from your body. And just let gravity help you soften into this twist. You can let the head follow the arm. For some of you, you're going to feel this twist differently if you bring your elbow up higher towards your ear or lower towards your shoulder and your hips. Sorry. We'll take one more breath here. And then inhale, bringing the upper body back up and releasing back to center. On an exhale, we'll just roll all the way over to the second side. This side might be different. Take your time to notice and feel. Again, something in between your knees might actually help you feel more stable in the lower back. But the action of the legs is squeezing in together, but also resting on the floor. You can bring the upper arm first to your lower back, making sure the lower back feels long here. And then bringing the upper arm into a cactus arm. As you exhale, softening into this twist. We're not efforting at all here. Definitely no strain, no pain. We can get a really nice opening through this twist of the spine, opening through the shoulder, opening through the chest. Feel again the length of your whole spine and soften with your breath. On an inhale, connect into that core support as you reach the upper body back over. And softly roll back through the middle. Coming up for our final pose, we'll plant the feet so that the heel, so now the back of the foot is barely within your reach. So you should be able to touch it with your longest finger. And notice your knees nice and parallel. Now, if you have a block, this can be a little bit fun to bring that block in between the upper legs, so the knees are also just barely squeezing it. You can bend your elbows at first to make sure the back of the head is on the ground, but not your neck. Inhale, go ahead and lift your hips for bridge pose. And feel the plant of your foot, so the corners of your feet reaching down, both of your legs squeezing inward again as you reach your knees away from your head. You'll bring your arms to the ground or keep them in the robot arm. Now, if you don't have the block here, you could still imagine you're holding a block and you don't want to let it drop. This next pose is going to be a little bit harder without the block. You might just watch. And really feel your right foot reaching down as you inhale and extend the left leg. Exhale and release it. Inhale, the left foot reaches down as we extend the right leg, lengthening the whole front body. Exhale, release. Let's try that one more time, or if you're just here in two-legged bridge, keep your breath steady and deep. A really nice stabilizer again for the low back as we prepare for our final relaxation. You've got the block there, take it out. And again, reach through both of your knees, reaching away from your forehead. As you exhale, we're going to unroll the spine, vertebra by vertebra, starting at the top, rolling through the middle, letting the lower back touch down and release. Gently softening again into those natural curves. Taking a moment to just pause and feel. Good job. Wherever you are, you've arrived. Feel free to stay there and connect a little bit more with yourself, turning your attention inwards. If you noticed, perhaps it's cold where you are, your fingers are getting cold, you might want to put on your socks or another layer, even take a sip of water. But if you're comfortable, and you will be able to rest for the next few minutes, you could just bend, keep your knees bent and let them fall together as you walk your feet out a little bit. If you have a rolled up blanket or a bolster, you could also extend the legs, but keep something soft behind your knees. This will help soften through the hips and again, encourage your lower back to relax. Or take classic Shavasana with your legs spread as wide as your hips or even wider. The arms by the side, shoulders resting down with the palms of your hands facing up. The back of the head resting on the floor. Removing your glasses if you have them. As you're ready, close your eyes and allow your attention again to turn inwards. Notice all parts of your body that have contact with the floor. And as you exhale, allow your whole body to rest a little heavier. As you inhale and feel the length of your body, notice its weight. And as you exhale, allow the weight of your whole body to drop a little easier. And scan over your body again from your toes, through your legs, through your torso, the back and the spine. Feeling your upper body, and then eventually arriving at the head and neck. And with an exhale, allowing your whole body to get heavy and still. Allowing your whole body to become quiet and relaxed. Once you feel your body resting easily, and bring your attention back to your breathing. For the next few moments, simply rest your full attention in the rise and fall of your natural breath. When you're ready, slowly start to deepen your breathing. Let it be natural. And take your time. As your breathing deepens, you start to enrich the body again with more fresh, oxygenated air. You'll generally start to wake up your body, start moving it with any small movements that feel nice. Letting these small movements spontaneously get bigger as you move and roll, or maybe even stretch the whole body again. Reach your arms overhead, shoulders heavy, and then reach from your fingers down through your toes. Exhale and release. Arms back by your side, and then let your head be heavy as you roll the head from one side through center and then to the other. As you're ready, bend one leg and then the other. Give yourself a hug again. Before rolling over to your right side, just pausing for a moment. Allow your body to orient. Finally, use your hands to help yourself up into one last comfortable, stable seat. So sit in any way that you can sit easily. Your knees feel good. Maybe prop yourself up on some support. And let yourself feel the overall effects of your practice. Bring your hands together in front of your heart, thanking yourself for making time for yoga today. Thank you for sharing your practice here. May it bring happiness to you and all those around you. Namaste.